Hello. So this is another episode of the series, Motivational Monday Live with your host, Aura Elena Martinez. And this week's episode is entitled, What Acting Classes Taught Me About Life. Now, before I start with this week's episode, I want to start off by introducing myself. If this is the first time that you are watching this series, and also share with you what is it that got me to start this series to begin with. So once again, my name is Arlena Martinez, and I'm a self-discovery and empowerment coach, helping women gain total clarity in their purpose so they can wake up to daily fulfillment and certainty. Now, purpose is not to be limited to just a calling. And why is that? Because you could be living your calling and still not be living your most purposeful life. And that's because a purposeful life also consists of you enjoying greater levels of mental well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, physical well-being, and also financial well-being. Why not? Every part of you and your life matters. I want you to get that. Every part of you and your life matters. And what even got me started with this series of Motivational Monday Live is the fact that Mondays, for some, tends to be that day of the week that they're already frustrated, anxious. Oh my God, I got to start off the week and I got to do this and I got to go to work and I'm not looking forward to this. And I want you to know this. If any of this is occurring to you, if you are feeling frustrated at the beginning of the week, if Monday is that day of the week that you're already anxious, you're not looking forward to going to work, you're not looking forward to how your life is, let that be your sign. Let that be your sign that something needs to change, either within you or outside of you. Because you're not meant to be frustrated all the time. You're not meant to be anxious all the time. You're not meant to not look forward to how your day is, to work or anything like that. That is not the way you're meant to be living. And it is my intention that with this series, you always get closer and closer to your truth. And why does your truth matter? Because the more you know your truth and understand your truth and you live your truth, that's how you're going to get to a point of living with authenticity. And it's when you live with authenticity, true to who you really are at your core, that you're going to experience the level of happiness that doesn't require something outside of you in order for you to be happy. That doesn't require things to be a certain way in order to be happy. And ultimately, that is the best happiness for you to feel. Also, the intention of this series is to keep elevating your level of consciousness. Why does that matter? Because your level of consciousness dictates what resonates with you, how much you're able to understand certain things, if you're able to have the discernment to even notice certain things. Just like when you're on the first floor and you're looking outside, people look normal size, right? The cars look big, the buildings look big. But if you go to a 10th floor and you start looking outside from the 10th floor, the cars look smaller, people start looking much smaller, buildings don't look as tall, as big as they once did. The same thing happens the more you raise your level of consciousness. The things that were so small to you, they start having a bigger meaning for you. The things that were so big for you, they're now smaller. When you see someone that is very successful, they're in a different level of consciousness versus someone that, quote unquote, isn't, or at least one that isn't living the life that they want. Because it takes a certain level of consciousness to get things, to really let things get to you. And so it is my intention that every time you're watching the series, something new shifts for the better for you, that you keep elevating that level of consciousness, that you start sensing yourself in the world in a way that benefits your essence. And once again, this episode is entitled, What Acting Classes Taught Me About Life. Now, perhaps many of you don't know that in my 20s, I took acting classes, right? And my minor in college was speech and theater. And I took courses at the New York Film Academy. I also took classes at the Stella Adler. So I learned her technique methods. I tried to get into Lee Strasberg. That was the school that Angelina Jolie went to, some of the big ones. And some of the big ones also went to Stella Adler. But anyways, then I decided to go to Stella Adler. And I also took courses at a school in Times Square that at the moment I cannot remember the name. And I was even invited to be a background actor for Orange is the New Black before it became known and before it was actually on Netflix. And this time in my life where I met interesting people, people that right now they're on shows on Netflix, they have been on music videos with known singers, one of them in particular in the Spanish industry. All this taught me so much. There was so much that I have learned, that I have gained, very valuable lessons that you can apply in your life. And that's what I want to share with you in today's episode. That's what I'm going to be sharing with you. So really let everything that I'm going to be sharing with you today sink in. The first lesson I learned through acting classes is number one. There's an art to living life that must be mastered in order to live your most purposeful life. Now, acting may look easy, but it's not. And depending on the role that you're playing, certain roles can be pretty challenging. For many actors that you see that are very known nowadays, it took them years to get to where they're at today. And whatever part of acting that is your weakest right now, you most likely must keep repeating that course over and over and over again. Like I did for me. Like I remember I took courses in improv, and the first time I took it, I was horrible. I was horrible. Whenever the instructor would say, okay, action, do this, do that, and I would just freeze. So I had to take it again in order to be better. And of course, I was better than the first time, but I still wasn't good, whatever. And so that's that. And there's different acting methods that I didn't know before. There is the Meisner method. There is one that's actually called the method. There is the Chekhov acting method. I mean, there's all different kinds of methods out there that we would not know unless we get into the industry. And you realize through acting that there may be a specific genre that you may be naturally good at while others you are not, right? And acting is an art that must be mastered. What does any of this have to do with your life and you living your most purposeful life? Well, living your most purposeful life may look easy, but it is not. It is not. And the more I interact with people, the more I analyze people, the more I pay attention to those that are living their best life versus those that are not, the more I realize that real happiness, it actually takes work. Real happiness takes work. And anybody that tells you that it doesn't take real work, they're lying to you. They're filling you up with crap. Essentially, they're not being honest with you. It takes work to lift yourself up when you feel like you're in a funk. It takes work to keep going whenever you are so-called rejected. It takes work to work out 5 to 6 times a week. You think I always want to work out? There are times that before I even work out, I'm like, oh, do I really want to work out? Right? Sure, acting may be easier for some actors more than others. Just like for some, living their most purposeful life may come more easy for them than others, right? But that does not take away the work that an actor needs to put in order for them to get acting gigs and for them to be successful, right? They still have to audition. They still have to prove to themselves in order to continue to be successful and to be great at acting. Then while they're having the acting gig, they still have to be professional. Same thing with life. You still have to show up in life, right? You still have to strive to be the best you that you can be. You have to be mindful of the way that you show up. So just because for someone living in a purposeful life may come a bit easier for them, it does not take away the amount of work that they must put in order for their life to be that easy. Do you get where I'm going with this? The actors that you see that are very successful and they're having a easier life, they still have to put in the work. They still have to put in the work. You still have to put in the work in life. You got to do the work. You got to put the effort. You must work on yourself to greatness. Right? And it takes time for you to develop yourself into who you're meant to be. Just like actors, that it takes them years to be where they want to be. In the same thing with you, it takes time, right? In life and in yourself as a person, you will have your weak points, right? And one of the biggest mistakes that someone can make is put aside that weakness and be like, you know what, that's a weak side. I'm not even going to bother with it. I'm not even going to work with it. I want you to know this. If your weakness is something that when you master it, it's going to propel you to greatness, then it is your duty to master that weakness. So if you have a problem with sharing too much about yourself and others, aka you run your mouth a lot, then that's a weakness of yours. And the reason why that's a weakness is because your mouth can get you into trouble. Your mouth can position you in situations or place you in situations, better yet to say, that don't serve you, right? And so that's something that you're going to have to learn to control. You're going to have to learn to control your mouth. And you mastering that is something that's going to put you in control of yourself. One of the biggest issues that I had was a complex that I had. There was a part of me that I hated. And it was a part of me that I didn't even realize at the time how it was messing up different areas of my life. And it wasn't until I learned to master that area of myself and I was able to really see myself as I really am and love all parts of me, that then doors started opening up for me. And I was able to be more of me. And I was able to be more. Do you see where I'm going with this? So the weak will be strong, as my mentor Gina Devi likes to say, right? So this means, as she says, that the weakest part of you will be your strongest parts. But you got to work on your weakness. You know, we've been encouraged to only work, and again, my notes were about to fall. The same thing happened in the Spanish version. Anyways, we've been told so much that, you know, just work on your strengths, you know, forget your weakness. No, you need to work on your weakness, because your weakness can be the very thing that will propel you forward, that will take you where you want to go in your life. And just like acting, there's so many different acting techniques. There are many different ways for you to live your life, right? And you must find the one that works for you, the one that goes with your essence. And some may say, well, this is the best way to live your life, but only you can say what's the best way for you to live your life. Only you can decide that, okay? So choose the method that works for you and rock it. And just like in acting, you may realize that there's a specific genre that you're very good at, right? I remember my acting classes. The casting directors, they, plain and simple, I suck at drama. I can't do drama. I'm not good at drama. But yet I'm very good when it comes to comedy. They were quick to notice that, especially when they would give me a script. It's as if I knew where the money was, meaning where the funny part was, how to act in that moment that had the class laughing. That was something I didn't know, right? So if I would have been in acting, that would have been my genre. It would have been sitcoms or comedy, right? So just like in acting, you know, you may have a specific genre that you may be good at. you're going to have things that you're just naturally talented at, right? Find out what that is. And if it's something that you enjoy, do it. Do it. We waste so much time doing things we do not enjoy, and then we wonder why our life is the way it is, right? Once you find out what it is that you're good at and you enjoy it, find a way to make a living out of it. Perhaps through a career or a job or a business. The things that you're good at, you're meant to be doing, right? And it's meant to serve other people as well. So it's not just for you, it's for others as well. Another big mistake that one can make that will lead to regret is living life according to the way the majority of the people live their life. I'm sorry, I'm not like the majority of people. I am not going to try to fit into whatever mold other people are in. And neither are you. You're not meant to be fitting in a mold that you do not fit. You're not meant to be living your life like everyone else. You're not everyone else. Actors are required to use creativity. It is a requirement. And the same thing goes when it comes to you living your most purposeful life. It requires creativity. So you learning how to live your life, who you want to be, and what purposeful living means for you is a must. It is a must. The second lesson I learned through the acting classes is you need to develop a thick skin. Now, I'm going to share with you a story. There was one class in particular that I took where the casting director, she saw my headshot photo, and she literally chewed me out into pieces. Meaning, the way she was criticizing that headshot photo in front of everyone in the class. Well, what is this? This is a horrible photo. You're horrible here. What the heck is this? Can you imagine? That's something that will make anyone want to cry. I just laughed. I could not believe it, and I laughed. And that's when I realized that to be in the acting industry, you need to develop a thick skin, because the acting industry is very tough. And the reason why it's tough is not so much because of the acting per se, even though acting isn't easy. It's not because of the acting per se, but because of the type of judgment, criticism that you have to endure, and the amount of rejection that they have to go through. In real life, you too will be criticized for who you are. You too will be judged. You too will be criticized for all sorts of things, right? There's going to be people that are not going to like who you are, or how you are, or how you look, or how you talk. So what? So what? Who the heck cares, right? If everyone doesn't like you, then you're doing something right. You're doing something right. That's something that I learned in marketing very quickly, but also in acting. If everyone doesn't like you, you're doing something right. Another biggest mistake that one can make when this happens is internalizing what other people have to say. That's a big mistake. You internalizing what other people have to say and how other people think of you. And the reason why this is a big mistake is because this can paralyze you. This can stop you from moving forward. And this will definitely have you in your life shrinking. I joked around with some people that if I was ever an actress and people, the tabloids and the news, whatever, they would say, oh, Aura did this and Aura said that, I'll be like, oh, for real? People talking bad about me? Thank you. Keep talking about me. Oh, Please keep talking about me. I love you all. And people laugh. It's like, I would really say that. Keep talking about me. I must be that important if you're talking about me, right? And this is the kind of attitude that you must have when other people criticize you, when other people are judging you, when other people gossip about you. And I say this because this is the attitude that is needed in order for you to survive and to thrive. And there's a reason why I say survive, because I'm going to tell you this. If actors do not know how to handle judgment and criticism, their career is over. Because they're going to be like, oh my God, no, I can't. They're saying all this about me. No, you cannot. You literally cannot care. You literally have to develop a thick skin. That's one of the biggest things that I learned through acting classes back in my 20s. And if you're wondering, okay, how do I survive the judgment, the criticism, the gossip? Well, you must have a strong sense of self. You need to know who you are at your core. You need to stand firm in your truth. You need to have a healthy relationship with yourself. When you do not have a healthy relationship with yourself and you don't have a strong sense of self, then whatever other people have to say is going to have you question yourself. I'm going to tell you this. People are always going to have something to say. People are always going to have something to say. And a lot of those people, most people that have something to say about you in your life, they have no business saying anything. Because if you look at their life, they should be taking care of their life, because that's a hot mess. The people that are successful, I want you to remember this, the people that are successful, they do not have time nor the energy to criticize other people. Whereas those that criticize and judge and gossip, I can guarantee you they have nothing much going on in their life. They don't have much going for them. So this is why you do not have time to worry about what other people have to say or be concerned or let it get to you. You do not need to. Just look at the source. Just look at the source, right? The third lesson that I learned through the acting classes that I took is great things are going to cost you and they can be expensive. I never thought that the acting classes can be quite expensive. Oh, yes, they can. And I spent several thousands of dollars because I went to 3 different schools to take acting classes. Just like taking acting classes can be expensive, the great things that you want in life, they're going to cost you, and they might be what you consider expensive. And the reason why I say this in quotation marks is because what may be expensive for one person, it's relative. It's relative, right? You'd be surprised. There are people that say that $2,000 is expensive. $2,000 is cheap comparison to how much certain things actually cost. So this is why I say that it's all relative, okay? Some people complain about what it takes for them to have what they want. And if you're one of those people, then you have to ask yourself, am I willing to do what it takes to have what I want? You have to ask yourself this. Knowing what you want is not enough, right? And you wanting something is not enough. You need to know what are you willing to do as well. You need to know that. Many actors have to do waitressing in order for them to fund their dreams, right? There are even some flight attendants that are in the acting field because that job provides them flexibility, because actors need a lot of flexibility. Are you willing to do what it takes for you to have what you say that you want? If the answer is no, let go of the dream. And I want you to remember this. You don't ever get what you want. You get what you're willing to work for. So if the answer is no, as a matter of fact, that was never a dream. That was just a want. And you don't get what you want. You get what you are willing to work for. So stop looking for the easy way out. Stop looking for it. The fourth lesson that I learned through the acting classes is the value of perseverance. The value of perseverance. To have the things that you desire, you must have perseverance. You must have perseverance. If there's a challenge, then it's going to be necessary for you to learn how to navigate through it. Learn the lessons that you're meant to be learning. Face your demons. This is so important. We all have our inner demons, those fears, those negative self-talks. We all have those demons, and it's up to us to face it. It's going to be necessary for you to rise above the challenge. Not always easy, I know, but it's a must. And expect rejections, expect setbacks, expect things not to go your way, expect other people saying things or criticism or judgment, expect that. And this is not to say that you're going to expect the worst, but this is about you preparing yourself mentally and emotionally and getting yourself up and moving on. This is what this is all about. And so if you're ready to face whatever inner demons that is within you, you're ready to obtain the clarity that you need, you're ready to transform whatever block that you may be experiencing, you're ready to really take your life to the next level, then I'm going to highly recommend that you schedule your clarity call with me. You just contact me and we'll schedule that call for you. And in that call, we're going to assess where you are now, where you would like to be, what is necessary to close that gap, and how I'm able to help you. You don't need to be confused. You don't need to be lost. You don't need to be going in circles. It's time for you to live your most purposeful life. It's time for you to be all that you are designed to be. I'm also going to ask that you share this video with other people. You never know who in your circle needs to listen to this message that I am sharing with you today. These are lessons that it took me thousands of dollars to learn. It's interesting how sometimes in life, there's certain lessons that it's costly to learn, right? It's costly to learn. And so I'm sharing these valuable lessons with you. So incorporate these lessons, let it sink in and apply it. And with that said, it is my desire that you live life to the max the way you are destined to live. And until next time, bye for now.